Well, what do you know? I actually like the freaking Acolyte show. It's true.
But why?
And in this video, I just want to talk about why I like the Acolyte, because there's so many people out there that think maybe I'm lying or they don't understand. They're like, wait, what? I watched this show. I thought it was trash. How could you like it, Josh? But I will also briefly touch on this big elephant in the room, and that is all of the representation and the way that Lucasfilm and Disney decided to promote this show. It has been weird.
I want to ask you both, because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
But I guess the point of bringing that up, and the reason it's always going to be brought up around the Acolyte, is because Disney did make the choice to put that front and center as a part of the marketing for the show. And it did seem like Disney was trying to signal to audiences and to potential audiences that this show is doing stuff specifically for representation, specifically for people that maybe haven't seen themselves on the screen as much as other people in Star Wars, which again, I kind of still don't even fully buy, because we've had like a lot of representation in Star Wars. Like, it's to the point where it's South Park parody at this point, but whatever. The point is, for some people, that's just going to be an immediate turnoff. A lot of you guys don't like the culture war. You think the libs are trying to turn the frogs gay and shit. So I get it. Like, you're just not going to like that. Legitimate. But I'm just really not that interested in talking about that kind of stuff. I'm just more interested in the story, the characters, the world. Does it feel like Star Wars? And to me, it does feel like Star Wars. So the Acolyte, man, I like it. I was surprised that I liked it. Why did I like it? Well, mostly it has to do with the writing. I find it really compelling, the idea of Jedi being killed, especially at a time when the Jedi were so prevalent and so powerful. That's interesting. And the whole show starts with an assassin taking a Jedi out. And I think that's kind of a bold choice, because the Jedi are like superheroes, they're super powerful. So it's like a shock and awe factor. You're like, damn, she did kill the Jedi, and she did struggle to kill that Jedi, by the way. And I love the way she killed the Jedi. She made the Jedi's selflessness be a weakness, and she used that against the Jedi to kill the Jedi, because the Jedi was trying to save the bartender. And from that scene on, I was drawn in. I was really interested in what was going on with this assassin, why she was hunting down these Jedi, and what was up with the weird way she was trying to do it, by getting the Jedi to attack her, by not using weapons. Like, there's something weird going on there. Consider me intrigued. Then enter the main character of the show, which is the twin sister of the assassin, who was a Jedi but left the order because this person couldn't get over their feelings of revenge. There's this crazy dark thing that's teased with a fire, her sister starting the fire, loss. And we're also introduced to the idea that a lot of Jedi were there when she was recruited, and there was something weird, something shady going on there. The twin sister, Osha, I believe her name is, she is misidentified as the person that kills the Jedi in the beginning of the show, because she's the twin. She looks exactly like the assassin. Her old master gets brought into this situation, ends up going to find her after that prison ship crashes on a planet. We also have this other Jedi, Yord, I think his name is. He was the guy that didn't know that it was Luke that blew up the Death Star. Yeah, he clearly doesn't know Star Wars, but I think he actually is pretty good in the show. And his character's interesting because he has an attachment to the main character, to Ocha, because they trained together. He's now a Jedi Master. She's now work for hire with the Trade Federation. I like the boldness of the show, man. I like it. Like, it's interesting, and I've always wanted a show that centralized more on the actual Jedi. Like, the show had a feeling of Clone Wars to me, where you're just in it with all the Jedi, their exercises out in the war, but also at the temple. And of course, this show is a peacetime show, right? But there's obviously conflict out there, and of course, darkness, and this dark, mysterious figure that's teased at the end of the first episode. And I like how the story's unfolding. It's like these Jedi are guilty about something. Something bad happened. The sister was apparently killed then. The main Jedi soul saw the sister die, but then the main character admits that the sister's actually alive still. So I think the show's bold. I think it's doing cool things, and I think it's very well written. It's complex in a way that we really haven't seen in any live action Star Wars show so far. Like, The Mandalorian's cool, but it's like bounty hunter goes out, there's a job, he ends up liking the kid, not wanting to take him in. That's not really complex. It's not a complex narrative, right? I mean, I don't know that any of the live action shows have a complex narrative. Even Andor, which I didn't really watch because I didn't like it. I don't think it's really Star Wars. But I guess you could argue that's probably the most complex put together plot, because he's like on his own world looking for his sister, gets dragged into a prison, then becomes actually a part of a rebellion, like weird stuff like that. But this show begins with a Jedi being killed. The assassin is a twin, and the twin sister gets identified as the prisoner, and she was a Jedi, but then she left, and then we find out that the sister died while the other sister was recruited, and a bunch of Jedi were involved with that, and a lot of them have guilt over what happened. And I also like the element of control. The Jedi are trying to control the narrative here. So that's what I mean, is like it's a complex story that is unfolding throughout these episodes. I think it's actually intriguing. Now, the other thing I will say, and this is a big reason as to why I am enjoying the show so far, is that I do think it feels like Star Wars. And a lot of people hear that and they're like, what do you mean? Define it. Write a Webster dictionary page. Make the AI tell me, what does it mean? And I guess I would say the characters, the way they act, their costumes, the sets, the overall look and atmosphere, and especially the use of music, to me combines to create a very unique feel when it comes to Star Wars. And I do think that the feeling of Star Wars is very operatic, or it feels like an opera. There's big swelling music to add impact to certain scenes. There's really slow atmospheric music when contemplating scenes. Like, Star Wars really does feel like fantasy, space, soap opera to me, and it has a very unique vibe. And I do think The Acolyte recreates that vibe. Not the whole way. There are parts that kind of lose me a little bit and don't feel super Star Wars, but it brings it back. And I think the most important thing is that the major emotional beats, the major story elements, they end up feeling like Star Wars. I'm happy to report that it does feel like Star Wars to me. I'm becoming attached to these characters that I've just met, and that was sort of shaky too. Like, there were parts of episode 1 where I'm like, man, I don't know. Do I care about these characters? But the plot is interesting enough, and they're all distinct enough to create cool character moments, and I've come to like them. Like that dude. Like, dude, again, dude doesn't know how to answer Star Wars questions and talk about it in the press, but he's cool in the show, man. Like, I enjoy the character. Now, one last thing before we get out of here. I'm just trying to kind of give you the overview of why I like Acolyte. There is a small caveat and a major elephant in the room. This has to do with episode 3. Now, I'm not going to go into it in this video, but I will make a video about this. There are some crazy leaks out there. There's a lot of discussion about this, like, ruining Star Wars forever. And like, the way I read the leaks, it's definitely weird. They're doing some really weird, crazy shit with episode 3, but I don't really view it as like destroying Star Wars, destroying the myth of like the Chosen One or anything like that. So I think it's fine, but I've also not seen it, right? So I got to watch it with all of you guys next week, and we'll see. There's a chance that it is as bad as some people say, and that it ruins Star Wars, and it will turn me off from the show. And to be honest with you, we are just 2 episodes in. So I'm basically saying I like The Acolyte so far. So far, it has exceeded my expectations. I consider it to be intriguing. I like how the story is unfolding. I'm becoming attached to the characters. There's mystery there, things to solve, theories to craft. So I'm enjoying myself, which is a big surprise to me. I did not expect to enjoy The Acolyte, but here we are. Did you enjoy the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte? Are you convinced that Disney is now giving me shill checks, and that is the reason I'm saying that I like it? As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.